Starfield just got its biggest update yet. Well, probably the only update it's ever gonna get. But let's check if it's actually good.
Earlier today, Starfield got a new update. This is about 800 megabytes on PC and a bit over 2 gigabytes for Xbox users. And this update is interestingly multi-pronged. Bethesda did make some changes to the game here, some mods did break as a result, but more on that in a moment.
Well, Bethesda should honestly not probably break mods, considering that's the only reason people will play this game in the long run.
But honestly, that's the smaller part of this update. The larger part is they laid out a bunch of new features that they're going to be adding in the future as well.
Brightness and contrast controls. Why couldn't have that been in the start? I don't know. HDR calibration menu. Don't know what that is. FOV slider. Why wasn't that in the game at the beginning? Nvidia DLSS support. I hope I have an Nvidia graphics card. I don't know. 32.9 ultrawide monitor support. Why? Why? These people deserve all the bad things that could happen to them. I'm just joking. Eat button for food. Wow. You know what? Next thing they're gonna figure out that it's high time they actually imported, I don't know, the inventory settings from Fallout, maybe? You know, that you don't have to press Q to switch between the inventory of you and your ship or container. Maybe actually add some text what you're actually picking up, because Bethesda, let me tell you something you probably have never considered. That not a single person in the world knows what a Grendel is when they're picking it up. Yeah, shocking. I know.
Some of which are going to be pretty massive additions for the game. And on top of all of this, we separately just got a surprise update for Starfield from Nvidia, with a recent drivers update that is leading to huge FPS gains for some, but an FPS loss for some others. So we'll dive into what exactly is going on there.
Course.
Another great update is the Starfield line of displays just dropped. Some of these being the original concept art, and they look
well, this plate is overpriced as all hell, but you know what? That's one of the products I do actually support.
Absolutely amazing. You can pick one up for yourself using my affiliate link down below. So first off, a lot of people are getting really confused by this update. Bethesda had a nice post like this, introducing the hotfix and then sharing a bunch of features they plan to add down the road. Unfortunately, due to the way this is formatted and laid out, it very much so looks like all of these features are part of the hotfix they just introduced a few sentences earlier. In reality, these features aren't actually in the hotfix. The post is laid out in a bit of a confusing way, and the hotfix itself will bring these 5 changes, some of which actually are pretty big. Most of this hotfix is going to be around quest blocking issues.
Leave it to Bethesda to even lie about a patch.
There's a quest progression issue where the main story quest, all that money can buy, this being that quest where you and Walter Stroud go to Neon, and sometimes there was a bug where he just wouldn't show up, or perhaps even more frustrating, he wouldn't talk to you. But thankfully that was fixed.
Hey, did I not say this in my last video or videos? Bethesda literally only will ever patch the game if there is a game fully breaking bug. That's it. That's it. The rest is for the modders to fix for free, because reasons.
With this update, and another issue in Neon, the quest Shadows in Neon seem to have a bug where if you killed a syndicate member, who you would naturally be killing during the quest Ebside Strikers, but this would actually lock you out of doing the quest Shadows in Neon because you would need to talk to this member. This being one of the quests on the Freestar Collective questline, effectively blocking progress here as well, but again, this was fixed with this recent hotfix. But perhaps the best fix of the 3 when it comes to quests, one of the early main story quests with Into the Unknown, where you have to meet Vladimir on the Eye for the first time, would just not start for some people. You could complete all of the prerequisites for this quest, but then nothing would happen, meaning that you were effectively locked out of
Nice.
Starfield's main story after just doing 4 quests.
I didn't even know there's so many game-breaking bugs, to be honest. Wow. Well, I kind of technically expected it, but I expected also to hear about them. But no one ever talked to them, and I have not encountered them.
although thankfully that was
Then again, I don't actually do the main story that much. It's stupid.
fixed today. Each of these are really nice fixes to see, but of course it is far from a comprehensive list of quest blocking bugs right now. You can find a bunch of reports of problems with other quests like tapping the grid or even Rook meets King, so hopefully we can see those addressed in another patch relatively soon. And in addition, we had two other high level changes. There's going to be improved stability with the installation of the game on Xbox, and general improved stability and performance to reduce crashes and improve frame rate. Although honestly I barely crash in Starfield to begin with, the game was surprisingly stable on that front, particularly after the day one patch. And although they do
Also, the sentence, I barely crash in this Bethesda game at all, because usually I expect to crash 10 times more in a Bethesda game, kind of just shows how incompetent Bethesda is in general, by the way.
to describe improved frame rate, I still immediately fall under 60 FPS.
No, seriously, the idea that some people are literally saying, oh, I have the top of the line NPC and I only crashed a couple of times is, how is that acceptable? How is it possible that in your world that's acceptable to begin with?
When walking around Aquila City, so it's not like this update's making that big of a difference. For me with this update, I didn't actually notice any major changes as far as my frame rate across the board, so it's likely going to be more on the minor side when it comes to performance optimizations, at least with this update, but more on that in a moment. Overall, for a first hotfix, I would describe this as just being kind of okay. It's definitely nice to see something, but the last major update came out 2 weeks ago, so I know there's a lot of players out there that were hoping.
Did they fix the thing where you get locked onto this space station that you, by the way, can't do anything with as far as I know? Did they fix the bug where you just lock on this thing and you can never lock onto any pirate ship, and thus this simulation is literally barely playable and the only way to fix it is to restart it from zero? Hope so, because that was shit when it happened to me.
Hoping for just a bit more. And to be clear, that wasn't actually public. The day one patch shipped out 2 weeks ago. This is while I was still reviewing Starfield, the embargo was still in place, so I didn't really talk about it, and if you just downloaded the game on launch day, you already had the day one patch included. Although thankfully, Bethesda does confirm that more fixes are coming in the future. As the other side of this post was a bunch of features that Bethesda is confirming they will be adding to Starfield, including mod support and their plans around that. So Bethesda starts off this post with a big thank you to the community for everyone's support, and they describe how they have been blown away with the reception to Starfield, making it clear that they intend to support this game for years to come. And they even mentioned city maps as a potential longer-term feature that could be added to the game.
That's a lie. I don't even need Todd Howard to tell me that, to know that that's a 100% blatant lie.
In Starfield right now, not all locations even have maps, and those that do have pretty rough and crude maps. So something a bit more detailed and useful would definitely be appreciated.
I mean, you know what happened here? Some intern was said, hey, make a map. And that intern was, shit, that sounds like effort. And then they were like, you know what? Maybe I can sell these idiots the idea that this is like a futuristic map and it fits perfectly into the setting and whatnot. And they actually got it. They nailed it.
But it seems like that is very much so in the...
And by the way, I understand that some people may think, hey, aren't you nitpicking about the small details? You need to understand, when you play Starfield, there's so many small details that are bad, constantly just repeating over and over again. It just completely takes you out of playing the game. It does become frustrating, it does become annoying, and I don't want to deal with it, and no one should deal with it. There's like a trillion different little small things that are wrong with the game and just frustrate you. And when there's no stop to those small frustrations, you just don't like the game.
Longer-term plans, and their initial priority will be on blocker bugs, stability, and quality of life improvements, with them making it clear that all of these exciting features we're about to go over will come in a regular interval of updates. So likely over the next few months and into next year, these major features will be added, such as brightness and contrast controls, a fairly basic accessibility feature that is surprisingly not in Starfield, an HDR calibration menu. Starfield's HDR implementation has left a lot to be desired, desired. And perhaps some more fine-tuning will really help with how the visuals look in-game. An FOV slider, which, yeah, not shocked to see this one. To me, what makes a lack of a FOV slider in Starfield truly baffling is we went through this entire process already with Fallout 76. They dropped the game, there was no FOV slider, a bunch of the community complained about this to the point where it became one of the biggest complaints from.
I mean, do you honestly think Bethesda even listens to your feedback? You need to be insane to think that Bethesda honestly cares about your stupid feedback. You're not a game dev, you're a literal nobody. Like, why would Bethesda, the kings of whatever they feel that they are kings today of, would listen to an absolute slimy, low-down peasantry class loser like you? They don't care what you say is wrong with the game, because you have no clue what should be in the game to begin with. Why do you think they're gonna ever value your feedback? You're nothing to them.
Fans, and then Bethesda adds in an FOV slider later on in an update. Evidently, there was not a lesson learned there, as we seem to be repeating the exact same process for Starfield. Although something that is pretty nice about this, seemingly this slider could be coming to Xbox as well. One feature is for PC, like with ultra-wide support, Bethesda makes that clear. The FOV slider has no such listing, so hopefully it also comes to Xbox users. They confirm that Nvidia DLSS support is coming to PC. Another one that is just kind of baffling to me, Starfield only launched with support for FSR2, despite the fact that as of right now, DLSS is just better, and modders were even able to add it to the game one day after release. But thankfully we are at least getting confirmation that it's coming. Hopefully this also means DLSS 3.0 support, and if that does become supported natively, a lot of you will see.
I'm not sure what difference am I supposed to see here. It literally looks like the same picture, except here she's in the black outfit, and here it's different. It's different NPCs. Yeah, it's just these are the gods. These are just different NPCs. It's an honest mistake to make, because you need to understand there's literally only 3 civilian models in the fucking game. Well, it's an under exaggeration, but you get it. There's so little NPC models that you see them repeat multiple times in a crowd of 10. It's very, very glaring.
Huge performance gains on PC, but also, as I mentioned, ultra-wide support for PC players and an eat food button, which is genuinely going to be quite nice. It'll likely be exactly what they added to Fallout 76, where instead of having to pick up food, then eat it, and instead you could just eat food directly from the world. But Bethesda also shares some news and details on mods. Additionally, we're working on built-in mod support creations that will work across all platforms.
That is gonna cost you money, 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 money. Bethesda's gonna milk ya. Again. The Creation Club did not pass the first time because they pushed it too hard. Now Bethesda is gonna do it slowly, gently. That is how life is taken.
Similar to what we've done with Skyrim and Fallout 4. This full support is planned to launch early next year. Until then, we know our PC community is already very active.
And by the way, I predicted this, and I'm still of the opinion, even though it currently does look like I may be wrong on this one point, that there is gonna be no battle pass. I really think they should add a battle pass to the game. I really do. It's like, the people who dislike this game have already left. The first achievement, which you get 20 minutes into the game, on Steam, is already not completed by 15% of the people who play the game. The next achievement after that, which is received, well, roughly 3 hours into the game, is not achieved by 30% of the players that play the game. So, it's safe to assume that not a lot of people, the only people who are playing this game are now fanboys. And fanboys don't ever care about battle passes or anything bad in general.
Active in the modding space, and if you have any feedback on how we can make this better, please let us know. Modding and creating in our games will always be a vital and important part of who we are, and we love seeing the community get off to such a strong start. And I feel like this is really great to see. I'm happy they have some clear and concise messaging on mods as being approved, but also how better tools are coming. We have heard that mods were coming next year for both PC and Xbox, but this messaging is even a bit more hopeful as they say early next year, so perhaps we could see official mod tools coming in Q1 of 2024. Although at this point I am like 88% certain that Starfield is also going to come with paid mods, these very likely dropping at the exact same time as the free mod tools. Describing their built-in mod support as creations while also having a newly added listing for creation credits in the Starfield EULA does feel pretty directed and clear. It's very likely that this will end up being a Creation Club successor that will launch early next year for Starfield and later this year for Skyrim. And due to the wording here, I bet they do a hybrid free and paid mod store just like Minecraft. Bethesda describes this as our built-in mod support creations will work across all platforms. So it sounds like all mods will fall under this creations umbrella, which is just kind of odd. I mean, in Fallout 4, we just called them mods, right? It's not like we renamed what mods were. They already have a name, I thought. So I think the reason they're using this specific wording is something like the Minecraft marketplace will pop up. We're going to have paid content and free content all in one storefront. You'll be able to see free creations right next to paid creations all on the Creations marketplace. Of course, as of right now, this is all just speculation, but the fact that they're denoting mods as creations definitely feels like it's something and not nothing. But this update did impact your mods already.
I told you, and you said, no, Bethesda cares about us. If they cared about you, they wouldn't have released Starfield like it is now.
Because, yeah, it probably broke a bunch of them. The Starfield script extender did break and will need to be updated, but that's to be expected. The script extender will break anytime the Starfield EXE is updated, which is basically every single update. And perhaps more impactful for a lot of you, the DLSS mod was also broken. So if you're just immediately crashing when trying to load a save in Starfield, make sure you disable your DLSS mod. This is likely the cause of that. And in general, if you're having crashing problems after this update at all, it is likely due to some mods you did have installed. Although, since this was a relatively simple hotfix, if you weren't having any of these quest progression issues, you could just skip this update and remain on your older save if you want to. And this is going to continue to happen. With each update to the game, a variety of mods will be broken, so backing up your game is definitely going to be recommended. But with all of that in mind, as I mentioned earlier, Starfield did get a separate surprise update just yesterday. And this may improve your performance if you do have an Nvidia GPU. Nvidia did two things here. One, they released a new set of drivers that reportedly can boost performance in Starfield for all Nvidia GPUs, but more importantly, they also issued an over-the-air update for the Starfield profile. So now resizable bar will be enabled by default, and make sure you actually have resizable bar enabled in your BIOS as well, as that's pretty important. This was a lingering issue with Starfield where, for some reason, this setting was just turned off, and actually a variety of the popular performance mods out there were fixing this already. But now Nvidia has officially fixed it, and for some this is leading to some huge gains. Although resizable bar is only compatible with Nvidia 3000 or 4000 series GPUs,
I don't know
so if you're
what
using
the
something older, you won't see
is.
benefits from this part. Nvidia themselves describe a potential 5% increase in overall performance, and yeah, it seems like that's pretty reflective of many of the benchmarks being posted online right now. It seems like you'll get a few extra FPS, particularly for lower end GPUs, with a lot of the gains overall coming from resizable bar as that's now enabled. Although the driver update itself is also helping, so if you don't have a 3000 or 4000 series GPU, you may still have some gains from this. But that's not applying across the board.
Are we now talking about computer nerd gains? Is that the rest of the video? Kinda disappointed! You know, not everyone here understands computers. You know, some of us decide to be smart and not go into tech but finance. You know, the people who actually rule the world and tell you monkeys what you're supposed to do because you're too stupid to make any decision that is actually related to humanity. Sit, you know it's true. Anyway, this is Quizzer Said. I think it's done because this is just a performance thing. And I hope you enjoyed the video. This was Quizzer Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already and have a nice day. Bye-bye.